What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the Wonderfest Amazing Model Contest build and the 172 Razor Crest. Now, today is going to be a really cool episode. I've been doing a lot of work on the stock components for the model. I created a whole tutorial / guide how to cut and mod your 172 Razor Crest for the Green Strawberry kit. And I think it's time, my friends, to go ahead and get started on building our first mod for the Razor Crest. We're going to be starting our mods today with the weapons. And the reason we're starting here is I want to get comfortable using this photo etch. I've used the Paragraphics, which is a little bit thicker, and this stuff is a little thinner and a little bit more delicate, and so I just want to get comfortable using it. There's only a couple of pieces to use. So really, in essence, I just want to get comfortable using all of the things and how to assemble everything. So what we've started with is I went ahead and figured out how to cut our resin pieces off of their resin blocks, I guess it would be, their mold blocks. And so for this, I'll be wearing a face mask. Anytime you're messing with resin and you're cutting it, you're going to want to make sure you're putting on a face mask, as the particles are very, very small. So I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of talking because it's going to be COVID mouth, basically, and don't want to try to talk through a mask. But basically, I'm going to go through quickly and cut and clean up all my pieces. I'm going to be using a razor saw primarily. I'm going to be using double-bladed nippers and single-bladed nippers. I've got files of all sorts of different kinds. We're just going to go through quickly and get all of our pieces removed. Let's go ahead and get started. Nice. I'll go ahead and do some talking here. That's totally fine. Although, don't have a proper fitting face mask anymore, which is pretty cool. It's kind of a crazy thought. I was looking around going, do I have a face mask? I have some really small ones, and I got a big stupid head, so. One of those things where I'm just like, I think I can get away with this. It's working. And it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be talking. I used just a double-bladed standard nipper there. And then I'm using my razor file. To clean up our parts. It's like a little raised edge here along the edge that we have to keep. But there we go. There's a little bit of a mounting point there. And it's a little messy on the back side here. So let's go ahead and get this cleaned up. And then what we're going to be doing in this episode basically is we're going to get our parts cleaned up. And then I'm going to go ahead and assemble them. And then once they're assembled, I'm going to go ahead and get them primed. And then we're going to paint the appropriate pieces, their appropriate colors. I am going to be painting the weapons, the cannons, with gunmetal. I want to have a little bit of a different color on there. And I'm going to be painting the rest of it, like this piece, for instance, needs to be primed, and then we need to go ahead and get our aluminum on there as well. Let's go ahead and find the next piece. Okay, so as you can see here, the connection point is just the separation point is just right through on this ridge. So there's a little bit of a raised lip that you want to keep. So I'm going to use my double-bladed nippers here and come right below and snap. I went on both sides, then I just kind of snapped it off. And for whatever reason, that seems to work. I don't know what it is, but it does seem to work. And then I'm just going to come through here and clean up the back. Perfect. Now, grab my file, and I need to do the same thing to the other side. Clean up the back of that. We will not be, however, assembling the weapons onto the ship. I just want to go ahead and do the assembly on this, get these ready to go. And the reason we're not going to be putting them on the ship is I am going to be manhandling that model quite a bit over the next little while and holding on to it quite a bit. It's the same reason why I'm not going to be putting the engines together right now, which is what the original plan was. Part of the reason why we're not doing the yellow paint on the side. I know I want it weathered, but I want it weathered through actual weathering and chipping versus, the other ways, which is, handling it too much. I do have it clear coated, but it's one of those things where, don't want to go too crazy with it. Okay, this is an interesting one. So in the middle here, there's like a very thin piece. So I can kind of punch that out. So I'm going to grab one of my metal files here. Kind of punch out some of that casting. There we go. And then I'm going to take a look at the diagram here. I see now where they want us to cut. I'm going to use my double-bladed, or my single-bladed, just a little bit softer and more precise of a cut. And I'm going to come along here, just like that. And then on this one, we're going to come in at an angle. Just like that. Very nice. And, wow, that's separated really nice. I gotta say, that worked out really good. Like, very little cleanup is needed here. Very good. Happy with that. Excellent news. Let's go ahead and grab the same piece. I have ADD, and OCD, and all of the DDs. I have to, match up pieces for whatever reason. I don't know. Some of you might get that. I can just grab whatever piece and cut it, but for me, I'm paying attention to what I'm doing, and I want to be able to repeat the process before I move on to something. So, flashing on this one's a little bit thicker, but once again, these are all cast, so these aren't printed, and these are cast pieces, resin casting. Grab my double blade or my single bladed again. At it just like that. Very good. And then we go down at an angle, just like that. This one needs a little bit of cleanup. Let's use one of my sticks here. And then my connection points. Yeah, for whatever reason, that other one just turned out super good. Like the first shot, I was like, wow. Very nice. Okay, that one's all cleaned up. Let's grab, I believe this is the back of the barrel. So we are going to leave everything on here up to this post right here. We're using a different camera because I'm trying to watch what I'm doing and see what I'm doing. Unfortunately, it doesn't focus very well, so there's just kind of that. So with this one, I'm just going to take my razor saw real quick. And just go straight down. Could clamp it, but not necessary. I cut off real nice. Then, just going to grab my... Boom. Very nice. Nice and easy. And that dust is why we wear the mask while cutting. It is a super fine dust. Let's go ahead and do that again. Very good. I love this razor saw. It's so good. I don't know why I used my sanding stick when I have the razor here. That's already done. God, I love this thing. It's amazing. Get yourself a razor if you guys can. Do not get any other type of glass file because it won't work out the way you want it to. The razor is the way to go. Alright, so this is the inner part of the cannons here. The part looks like just like that. And this one we are going to cut just where it seems obvious. So it's just going to be where the thinner part meets up right here. Let me use my razor saw again. Make sure everything's all lined up properly. I'm going to cut from this side. And I'm going to be very gentle holding this piece with my hand. I'm pushing down slightly with the razor saw, but really just kind of letting the motion in the ocean, so to say. Just the back and forth is all I'm trying to get taken care of. I don't want to be pushing down too hard. There we go. Came over for the other side. Perfect. This wasn't the cleanest cut, I gotta be real. So I should have stopped halfway through. I got a bit of a funky angle cut there, and so what I'm gonna do, let's see if the magic of the razor is true. See if I can get this down to a nice flat surface quickly. Oh my god. Huh. Amazing. Wow. Just amazing. Get yourself a razor. That's all I gotta say. Alright, let's go ahead and do that again. And then the lesson learned here is use the razor saw, be more precise. And there's some flashing on there. Only cut about halfway through. So I need to lift this up just a little bit so I'm not cutting it in at an angle. It's about halfway. Turn it over. There we go. Very nice. Yep, that one turned out much better. Let's use our razor to clean that up. Done. God, I love that. God, I love that. Famous Dan Aykroyd line. God, I love that. What movie? Let me know. Okay, so these are part of the... I think we only need 2 of them, but they give us 3. And these are... Is it 101? Yep. I'm just looking at the instructions. They do give us an extra one, so I'm only going to cut off 2 of these. I'm going to go ahead and leave one of these on the sprue? I don't know. Mold? What do you call that? Let me know. And I'm just going to use a pair of double-bladed, or single-bladed nippers here. Very carefully just run along there. And then one more. There we go. I'm going to leave this one off to the side. Quickly clean this up. Oop. There we are. Excellent news. All right. Last piece to cut. These are going to be the 2 barrels. And just like the other piece, we are going to have an extra one left off to the side just in case something happens. I am also going to use my single-bladed nippers. And we're going to cut these. I need to go look at my diagram real fast, just to make sure I'm getting it right. Do not want to cut where I'm not supposed to. Okay, so there's a little flare up that comes from the mold at the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and cut right there at that flare. There we are. There we are. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the spares back in the bag here. It looks like I'm not going to need too many of these sanding tools for this one, which is great. Really just the Razor has done its job. I use a little bit of a couple of the other things, and so once I finish sanding this, I can take this stupid mask off. Boom. It just takes it down so fast. And the cool thing with the Razor is a lot of the glass files that you'll come across, the file is going to go all the way out to the very edge, and what you'll find is that you create ridges with it. That's not the case here. There's a non-filed edge around the very edge, and it just takes them down. And the grit takes it down. And if you work at it, it will really like shine a piece up. So, all right, all of our parts are cleaned up. Go ahead and get our file put away. I keep it in its little sponge here that it came in, or little foam thing that it came in. I just like to keep it. You don't want to drop these. These are kind of expensive. So, okay. So now, go ahead and take the stupid mask off. Everything's all cleaned up. So let's go ahead and do some assembly real quick. I'm super excited about this. So, for resin parts, as a reminder, you can only use CA. You cannot use cement for that. The cement will melt the plastic in the resin in such a horrible way. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up my end of that. And let's go ahead and start by tossing our little bases here. Excellent. Should I should. I know you guys didn't hear my thought process in my head, but should I use my CA applicator trick? And that would be yes, I should. So we're just going to get some CA onto a little piece of cardstock here. Then I'm going to grab my pin vise with my 18 gauge wire, or 18 gauge, well, I guess it would be wire, florist wire, I guess is what you would call it. But this is what I use for applying my CA. Now let's go ahead and start with step number 1, which is basically assembling all the pieces almost all the way. Like, this is a very simple mod to do. And so I'm going to grab, let's see here. There are different ones for each one. Okay. So this is part number 3. Yes, this is part number 4. All right, so we are going to take that and we are going to put it into place just like that. So, parts are cleaned up. Let's go ahead and get our CA. And we're just going to go ahead and put it all along the watchtower. Get along the sides. There we are. Excellent. So now we're just going to go ahead and put our pieces together just like that. I'm going to hold these together for a minute or two, and I will be right back. Alright, let's go ahead and get the next piece put on. I'm going to go ahead and get our CA all around the outside here. And get some CA inside of here. And simply join them together. we're going to hold that in place, and we will be back. All right, let's go ahead and get the back piece put in, which is going to be one of these two pieces here. And it looks like it goes in with the point facing up, and it fits right in. There's actually a hex spot there, if you can see that. And this one is hex shaped at the end, so that fits right in. So I'm going to go ahead and just take my applicator and just get a dab of CA on there. A good amount. Then I'm going to go ahead and put this in place. Very nice. Yeah, that looks really good. Okay, I'm going to set that one down. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the next one. All right. Point goes up for this one as well. So we're just going to go ahead and slot that in place. Push that down. And that is what it looks like semi-assembled. All right. Very good. I'm going to let these dry for a moment, and we will be right back. All right, so while those two are settling in, let's go ahead and get our flaps installed. And basically, it's just the part where everything matches up to the hull. So let's take a look at our instructions here real quick. So I just want to make sure I have my flaps going in the correct direction. I do. So that's for the B side. Then that is that, and that is for this one. Okay, so these pieces are going to line up. There's two little slots here in the back, and then we're going to line those up right here. And so we are going to attach them right like that. Actually, I think incorrect. I had that upside down. We're going to attach that just like that, creating a hinge basically. So I'm going to grab my applicator. Drop some CA down in each one of these slots. Make sure I have that going in the right direction. I do. I'm going to set that down. Clicked into place, and once it clicked into place, I'm just going to leave it alone. So let's go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. You don't look gift horses in the mouth. I understand the reference and why, but it's still a really weird thing to say. And if anybody knows why you don't want to look to gift horse in the mouth and why you look to gift horse in the mouth, let me know down in the comments. Oh, gift horse. Did not greet us this time. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to let those sit for a moment or two, and we will be right back. Okay, while those are drying, next up, let's go ahead and install our ends of the barrels. So what we have here, how do these install? Did I cut it down not enough? I did not. I was like, wait, hold on a second. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and grab a quick, easy sanding tool here and get this nice and flat. Don't want to bust the eraser back out. Make sure that's nice and level. Let's go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to use my single blade. Where you are? There you are. As it gives a much cleaner cut. Yeah, I barely need to sand that side. Single blade, much better than double blade. But your double blades are great for heavier applications. You don't want to use your single blades for hardcore work. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is make sure that this end is nice and even as well, actually. Want to make sure that both sides are nice and flat. No raised edges. Yeah, that looks good. Do the same thing here real quick. Yep, looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to dip the end of my barrel into the CA and join our pieces together. I'm going to hold this very precisely and not move, and I will be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, that cannon's all settling in. Let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. I'm just going to dip straight into my CA, grab the barrel, or the muzzle, connect our pieces, and hold. I will be back. Alright, that one's settling in. I'm going to go ahead and settle down and let it finish drying. And then let's grab a pair of tweezers, and I will grab my flathead ones. And we are going to take this little piece and put it on the very end over here where you can see there's a recess. So I'm going to grab my CA. Get it down into the recess. It's very obvious. I know through this camera it's not the greatest. At the end of this segment, or at the end of this, we'll be switching over to my phone camera so that we can get a much better look at these. Setting up my new camera, and I don't have my infrastructure set up quite right just yet. So, we have that settled in just like that. I'm going to go ahead and leave this one sitting. I'm going to try to get it sitting up at a... There we go. Nice. Sitting perfectly level, actually. That's very nice. And last little bit of glue in for the moment. We're going to be applying, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be applying the photo etch after we get our parts painted. Alright. So that one's settled into place. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just go through. You guys have seen me go through the whole process of painting. So I'm going to go through and prime these. And then get, it's probably, I think it's like 7 to 9 coats of primer, of the all-clad gloss black primer. And then like 5 coats of the aluminum on this piece. And then these pieces, I'm just going to be putting the gloss black, and then we will be painting that with the gunmetal with the brush. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all painted up, and when we come back, we will get them all installed and then get our photo etch put in place. We will be back. All right, we're back. Now, I got this painted, and then some more technology issues. Man, I've got a new camera, and I've really got to get it set up. It's not quite recording the way I want it to, so I've been like just trying to... I set up my infrastructure for... my up above camera stuff up here. And I set it up for the new camera, and it's just not getting the quality that I want, and I need to finish getting it set up. It's all that needs to happen. But I've been like trying to make it work with what I had, and we missed the part where I put together the photo etch. So very simply, these are the 2 outer flat pieces on the around the guns. Replace the stock pieces, which they look pretty similar, but the photo etch is actually the piece that sits over here right at the very end. It's this very thin piece. That was actually molded into the plastic. I took a look and see how I did it, and this is just a much better setup. So I went ahead and painted these in the aluminum color that is the base color of the ship. And then I'm kind of regretting not filming this because it wound up being a pretty cool process. What I did is I'm thinking about the materials that I have that I'm going to be using for later on in the build. And I have the all-clad jet engine exhaust lacquer spray. And I want to spray this on here so it kind of gives that burnished, you know, it firing light blast emissions, you know, blaster bolts, and I wanted to give it that effect of the jet engine exhaust there. And so what I did is first I primered it, and then it was actually only 5 coats. I've gotten better at figuring out like how many coats I need to do, like how thick of each layer I can do to paint this and cure it in one day. Like this is done. It's like ready to roll, which is pretty cool. So I primered it, and then I just sprayed the very end of the barrel here with the aluminum, and then let that cure for a little bit. And then I came through and I created spray with some Tamiya gunmetal, the X10, and sprayed the rest of this, and then kind of worked my way up very lightly around the end. And I kind of want to give that effect of like heat dissipation, and that like the guns were actually this color, but the more heat that has gone through the end of the light barrel. A ridiculous discussion from Xtreme the other day, from Hobby Time Modelers. Definitely check it out. But yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, I wanted to create that effect, and I'm regretting not filming it, to be real. Like, I had the thought as I was doing it, and so it turned out really, really well. So to finish this up today, what we're going to do is very simply attach these pieces on here, and then I'm going to go ahead and not permanently attach, but I'm going to get them attached to the side of the Razor Crest so that you can see what we're doing. But first, I have a little bit of photo etch left to paint. I was like, okay, I'm going to leave that. I realized as soon as I finished filming this, by that I mean not like hitting the record button or something. I don't know what happened, but basically I was like, okay, I need to save at least a little bit of the photo etch. So we have a little bit of the photo etch, like it's this little ring around the top here. I'm going to go ahead and just paint each side with the gunmetal real fast before we do our assembly. So using photo etch for I've done it now a few times. Oh god. I might have to pull an E in here. Okay. And by that, I mean using a pair of pliers, which is a horrible idea, y'all, by the way. Ask PitstainHobbies, he'll tell you. But using photo etch, you know, I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with it. These parts, one of them did break. I was able to fashion it in such a way to make it look like it didn't break, thankfully. But yeah, I need to get better about it. And in the middle of it, my Tamiya pliers broke. Like, I cannot believe it. I was like, excuse me? So I've taken them back to Amazon, and I am going to just pick up a pair for my hobby shop. They have them in stock. But thankfully, I had my 3D metal earth pliers still, and they work just fine. But Dave, I see what you're saying about the Tamiya pliers. They are something special, aren't they? But yeah, they broke. I was a little like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Alright. Some paint on there. Very nice. I much prefer spraying metal flake paint. I gotta be real. Been doing a bunch of hand painting on my R34 on stream, because I love building model cars too. And that one has all been hand painted so far, and learning quite a bit actually. Just paying attention to what I'm doing. Alright. But yeah, I much prefer air painting metals. So, I'm going to go ahead and let this dry for a minute or two, and we'll be right back. Alright, that's had a good chance to dry. Let's go ahead and finish up our assembly. First up, I'm going to take the back of my hobby knife, and it's going to be connecting up. So there is a lug mounting point right here, and it matches up right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch the surface, make sure I get a good connection point, both in the lug and just slightly around. I'll do that on both sides. Something that I knew I should be doing this whole time, and I've just never been patient enough to do so. So, making sure to focus on that. Being much more patient with myself and the models. Okay. And then I'm going to scuff up the back. This is simply for, obviously, creating a better bonding surface for your paint. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my CA. Reminder, do not use cement for this, as it will melt the resin. Just a little bit of CA there. And I'm going to very carefully position it in place. I'm going to go ahead and hold this right here exactly in place. I say as I move it around, I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place, and I will be right back. All right, that's nice and fitted in place, and that is the right side, starboard side, gun port almost completed. We need to go ahead and do the jet fuel or the jet exhaust, but we'll be doing that in a later episode. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And to install these, you have the mounting lug. So this is going to be the port side. You have the mounting lug right here. The photo etch is going to be facing towards the front of the barrel. So for that, it's going to just settle in just like this and sitting slightly forward from where you think you'd want to mount it. It sits just like that. So let's go ahead and get our glue on. And in this instance, I'm actually going to put it on this side because it was more beneficial to get some things stuck over here. There we are. Left a little bit of room for a squeeze out. And once again, the lug goes in, photo etch goes forward. And I'm going to very carefully place this. Got it first time that time, I think. Almost got it first time. There it is. Oh, slid. There it is. It'll lock into place once you have it in its right spot. I'm going to go ahead and hold this, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, I'm going to have the body of the Razor Crest, which you guys will see if you haven't seen the tutorial yet, where I've gutted the bottom of it. And we'll go ahead and get these mounted up, and I'm really excited about that prospect. So we will be right back. All right. Now, first up, if you guys haven't seen the tutorial, the bottom of the Razor Crest has been gutted. Necessary for the mod. I've also gone through, reprimed all of the pieces that were the main part of that. So the bottom piece, all the ramps and all of that, and everything that we really did a lot of hacking and cutting on have been reprimed, repainted, and I've put my clear coat over the top. So I can now actually handle this thing. The lacquer is not super forgiving. It's I'm feeling that it does take a long time to actually cure. But with the proper painting technique on this, and basically with the clear going over the top, it's done. It's sealed in. It's real nice. And we're ready to move on to the inside. But we're going to be taking care of that next week. This week we're going to be taking care of some of the outer mods. And in the next episode, when we come back later on this week, we're going to be talking about the actual plan. In creating that tutorial, I had to actually think about the model and create a set of instructions that I'm actually going to be giving to Green Strawberry, hybridizing the instructions that AMT gives you and the instructions that the Green Strawberry kit. Because I found out, thank you, Donnie, go ahead and toss a little shout out here. Donnie, I think, nailed it on the head. I asked the question, why wasn't this included in the AMT green strawberry kit? And the reason why is it's for the Revell kit. Basically, the Revell kit and the AMT kit are the same kit. The big difference is the Revell has a bit much more detailed interior, and AMT just decided to cheap out and put this ridged piece right here. So it's very interesting. And Donnie, thank you for pointing that out. I looked into it, and you are 100% correct. That is the big difference. And so, but I put together a set of instructions, and we're going to talk about the plan for that one. And we need to start getting wired up for lighting as well. But before that, I want to start working on the engines. So in the next episode specifically, we are going to be building the engines and the VTOL thrusters, and we're going to be doing our custom lighting. And I've already created one set of the lights, and we're going to be building the next set of lights for it in the next episode. And in order to complete the engine pods, we need to do both the VTOL thruster mod and the engines mod. So I'm really excited for the next one. But before we go today, my friends, let's go ahead and do a quick little install of our weapons. Alright, so here it is. I am really happy with the results. I really feel that this has turned out really, really good. You know, I'm getting better at this stuff and just applying techniques. I'm going to do a better job of shooting more things. I've had a couple comments say, hey, I'd like to see a little bit more of the work, and I've got some thoughts about that, and I'm trying to be conscious of it, but in this case, I really regret not showing the painting of the guns themselves, and I really need to get my other camera set up, so I think I know what I'm doing next. So, let's go ahead and get this one installed, and it's kind of cool, like, you can kind of, like, put it in and, like, you don't need to glue it in place just yet. So that's what that looks like. Man, that looks so damn cool. That looks so damn cool. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to be very gentle with this because they do like to slide out. This one is going to be a little bit tighter of a fitment, which is good. So just very slightly tighten that in. Push that in, tighten that in. And there it is. That's what they look like from the top. Look like from the top. Man, that looks really good. What they look like from the side. There's that one from the side. And then from the front. And then the bottom. Oh, man. Green strawberry. You guys are amazing. Great stuff. Fantastic start to our modded build. I am super excited about that. We have some assembly going on. We're ready to really get going. So once again, next episode, we are going to be assembling our engine mod and our VTOL thrusters mod and creating some custom lighting and then talking about the plan. But for this one, my friends, Green Strawberry really has come through, and these weapons look so much more realistic than anything that we could have got out of the AMT kit. And so I am super excited and proud about this build and ready to move on to the next step. So that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me, watching me build a model, which I think is pretty damn cool. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world where we happen to be. And just remember that this is the way.